Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'm back with a new layout and video for Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm going to be using the new Super Cool collection. And this collection is really fun and bright. You can see it's got a lot of primary colors, but it also has some soft light colors. It's got some papers with lots of fun, trendy type of images on them. There's lots of things that revolve around technology. There's cell phones and texting and abbreviations. There are books and, let's see, bicycles, sunglasses, arrows, emoji faces, little picture frames, all kinds of stuff. I mean, really, you could do anything with this collection. I really love this paper here with all the little pennants on it. So I chose my two photos here, and I'm going to talk about why I chose these photos later. It's pictures of my two daughters in the back seat of the car after school one day last year. And as far as that goes, that's the only thing that I knew. I was going to use this collection, and I was going to use those two pictures, but I did not have a design idea in mind yet. And so when that happens to me, I tend to just start fussy cutting. I pick a pattern paper that's got some shapes that I think would look cool, and I just start to cut them out, and that's what I'm going to do here. I don't cut out all of these banners or pennants, but I just went to cutting, and so I thought a lot of these would go with my photos. So I cut those out and started playing around a little bit off camera, and I went through the acetate speech bubble pack and realized that I loved quite a few of those. And there are lots of things in this collection that revolve around music. And I chose my photos because of that. And again, I'll discuss that in a little bit, but I want to make sure I tell you what I'm doing here. So after I thought about kind of what theme I wanted to make this layout and what direction I wanted to go in, I thought about using speech bubbles. And so I was inspired by those acetate pieces. And so I thought that would be kind of cool to make a big speech bubble as part of a design background image or element. So that's all I'm doing here. I pulled out some white cardstock, and I used my ruler and my pencil there to just trace and draw a big giant rectangular shaped speech bubble. And I'm going to color it with some, or paint it with some of the watercolors here in just a little bit. But what I'm going to do is situate the photos on top of this speech bubble and then create sort of a collage around the photos with lots of stickers and die cuts and the acetate pieces, and kind of just sort of make them kind of nestle into one another. Shout out to Jen Scow. She's the queen of nestling, and always am inspired by her ability to do that so well. And so that's what I'm going to attempt to do with a lot of these little bits and pieces from this collection, because there are so many cute things. So all I'm going to do now is just sort of play around with things that I feel like will match what I'm going for here. And the reason I chose these pictures is because if you followed my personal channel before it was hacked, that's a whole nother story. You've probably heard me talk about my daughters in the past, but both of them are autistic and they are both nonverbal. And my older daughter, she's 13 now, and she has a few words that she will use when she feels like it. She still doesn't answer questions. I still am not able to have a conversation with her, but every now and then she will bust out a word and I will just be flabbergasted. And so through school and a lot of the activities they do in class and in her therapy, you know, they do a lot of music. And so she has learned to love music, and she learned how to say the word song. And so when we get in the car every day, we leave the house in the morning, we get in the car from school, no matter where we're going, she will reach up from the back seat and tap my shoulder and she will say song. So I always said, when one of my children actually said a word or gave me a command, I would do whatever they said. I didn't care what it was. So every day, multiple times, she will say song. And so I am going to play her songs. She has 5 or 6 favorite songs, and I'll tell you what those are later. But that's what this layout is going to be about. It's going to be about music and the fact that she finally you know, says to me what she wants. And so every day I can't wait to get in the car because she will say song. And since she finally says it, I'm going to do it. And that's why I'm going to use a lot of musical elements in this layout. But okay, more on that later. All I did there was just add some gesso to this big speech bubble to kind of prep it and allow it to accept the watercolor. Oh, speaking of my children, here's my younger daughter, Paige. She is going to come in here and basically lay on me. I couldn't cut this out. It was just too cute. She was in a very huggy and kissy mood. There she is with her wild hair. She just has to come over and give me kisses whenever she feels like it. She doesn't care if I'm working. Yeah, she's also nonverbal, but she is the biggest cuddler and sweet thing ever. Yeah, she doesn't care what you're doing. If she wants to give you a kiss, she's going to do it. So I just had to let her do it. It was the sweetest thing. So I'm using the Pinkfresh Studio Liquid Watercolors here, and I've already got them in my little paint tray there. And I'm just kind of mixing and matching a few of the blue colors. There is I believe, sapphire. I've already put these up. I don't have them in front of me. I think the darker blue is called sapphire. And the sky blue, which is kind of the aqua turquoise-ish color. And I'm just very quickly, not even doing this in a neat manner, I'm just going around the edges. I thought it would be pretty to have some blue and green watercolor around the edges of this speech bubble and then leave the center of it mostly white. Oh, there's my helper again. Mostly white because I'm going to fill it up with a lot of the die cuts and stickers. And so I want those to really stand out against the background. So I'm not going to color in this entire thing. I'm going to add a little bit of white acrylic paint there just to kind of soften it up even more and add a little bit of whiter elements to it to soften it up a little bit. And then just keep working at it. I'm going to add a little bit of green also. I think I used emerald for that. But yeah, the reason like I said earlier, this was just plain white cardstock, and the reason that I'm able to add all this water to it is because I added that gesso first. Gesso is a primer, and so it sort of toughens up the paper and gives it a little bit of strength to accept all of that water. So you can kind of see what I did there, and I really wanted to use this ombre green striped paper. I didn't want to use the whole thing, but I almost didn't do this, but I'm glad I did. I think it turns out really well. So I'm going to cut off some of the stripes here and just use a portion of it behind the speech bubble. And I'm going to attach all of that to some white cardstock. And this, you know, in the end, this layout definitely looks different than my usual style, but I really wanted to focus on the story for this and the all the bits and pieces. So I do get a lot of mixed media in, but it just has a different feel because I did my mixed media on this the big speech bubble. I am going to do some on the background also here in just a minute. I'm going to also use some of those stamps that you just saw there. Those are also from Pinkfresh Studio, and those are called Adore Alpha. And you can get those as well as the matching die cuts, or not die cuts, die sets to use in your manual die cutting machine to cut those out. Those are available in the store as well as everything that I'm using here today. All right, so I'm going to attach this down, and this is a perfect time for my ATG gun to mess up. I don't know what in the heck happened, but this has happened to me on most of my recent layouts that I've made. My ATG gun, I think I get it fixed and then it messes up. I don't know if it's the roll of tape I'm using or what, but I just did not have the patience to try to operate on it, so it's just going to go away for now. So anyway, I'm going to get that glued down, and then I wanted to do a little bit of watercolor at the top and a little bit at the bottom. Not a lot, but just a little. So I'm going to use some white gesso here to kind of fade a little bit of the green line up at the top and then a little bit down at the bottom. And I'm using white gesso for that. I used clear gesso earlier. Whenever you want to soften something up or make it look a little hazy like I'm doing here, you want to go with white because obviously the clear is clear and it won't cover up any colors. Okay, so this is kind of how the design is going to go. I'm going to play around with the colors here. I thought about adding some yellow and red colors, but I just held off on that for a second. I decided on my title, and I'm going to use the stamps to create it. And I'm going to use one of the mini ink stamp, not mini ink stamp, mini ink cube ink pads that you can also get in the Pinkfresh store. Those are recent additions. Love those. And I'm using the color called Coral Reef. So I'm going to go very short and simple with my title. It's just going to be Song, because that is what she says when she wants her music. And so that's what my title is going to be. So I'm going to just stamp these onto some scrap cardstock, actually the same cardstock that I used to create the big speech bubble. And then I'm going to use the matching dies to cut those out. I did that off camera. So now I can move those letters around, and they're nice and big. And I put those in that color because this layout's going to have a lot of green and a lot of blue. And then on all of the little bits and pieces I'm going to have in some of that corally reddish color and some yellow. But the bulk of this is green and blue. So here's where I'm going to add a little bit more green up at the top here. And this is going to be kind of subtle. It's not going to be a lot. You're just going to be able to see it kind of above the speech bubble and then below the speech bubble. I just wanted to have a little bit of something messy and watercolor-y. That's totally not a word, but you know what I mean. Down at the bottom and the top. And I'm going to leave the rest of it white, because I don't want to make the background so busy that it takes away from all the embellishments that I'm going to add. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about as I go. I love to make mixed media backgrounds, but I never want them to be so busy and so overpowering that they take away from the photos, or they take away from the you know, the die cuts and all the stickers and things that you use. I want everything to kind of be just the right amount of busy. So, you know, because the main goal of scrapbooking is to showcase your pictures. And if you're using something, too much of something, like you're using too much of a pattern or too many things, you know, that's going to make your photo get kind of lost. Does that make sense? So I've got a little bit of green, a little bit of blue, and now I'm going to work on these acetate die cuts. Now they're not clear, but the words on them here are light and almost white, and I didn't want the green background or the blue parts to kind of darken up the colors or the white in these speech bubbles. So I'm just going to play it safe and glue them to some white cardstock so the colors of those don't change. I want you to be able to read the words, and so if there's some solid white behind those words, you'll be able to see the white. So now these are all the stickers and die cuts and things that I have chosen to use, and I want to pop almost all of them up off the page for some dimension. So I'm just going to take some time here and add some adhesive foam behind all of it. And then voila, you can see here kind of what I'm talking about. I've got everything arranged. You can see the big nice title and then all these other little goodies around it. Now I have to just glue it down. I didn't want to move anything because you know how that goes. You're never going to get it back perfectly. So I'm going to very carefully glue it all down. And I tried to get a mix and match of circles, rectangles, little tiny speech bubbles, all the different shapes, all the different colors. And then I'm going to stick it on the background. Not everything's glued down. I still have to glue down the pictures and things, but the bulk of it is glued down. And you know what? I forgot to show you up close. I forgot to show you earlier that I machine stitched around the speech bubble with some dark blue, more like a royal blue thread, just to make it stand out a little bit more. I worked on this layout over the course of about 4 days here and there, so yeah, it's definitely multiple days of filming and working on this bit by bit. So all I'm going to do as far as layering behind the photos goes is just add a little bit of tissue paper and some adhesive foam. I'm going to put that Don't Stop the Music piece up at the top. And then here's where I changed out. Remember in the beginning I had the word love, but I decided to use that over on the left. So I put this puffy sticker there that says very cool. And I love how that fits right in the white, basically where the window goes. But yeah, all these little things are perfect. All these sayings, a lot of them talk about music, but they're very general. You make me smile and enjoy and love. So, you know, you're not really limited to a certain theme. You can pretty much use this collection for anything. And I love that about these collections. I'm going to pop the whole thing up now. So this has got lots of dimension. So the whole thing is popped up, and then all the little bits and pieces, except the puffy stickers, they're dimensional enough, but everything else is popped up. I had to use this little music note there. And then it's funny, I only wind up using one of the little banner pieces that I cut out in the beginning. Remember, that's how I started. That tends to happen to me a lot, where I start fussy cutting and then I wind up not using it, or I only use a bit and piece of it. And that's okay. You know, ideas change as you go, and that's just part of the process. Things change and you just go with it, and it is how it winds up, you know. So I'm going to come in with some thread. I'm going to add some yellow around this circle over here that says Young, Wild, and Free. It's kind of hard to see here in the light, but it's going to add some little bit of texture there, as well as some yellow color around that blue circle. And then I'm going to add some blue, that royal blue color, down underneath the speech bubble there, just for a pop of that color, a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to go with some of that corally, pinkish, reddish, salmon-ish, why do I keep saying ish, color. And then I decided to add another pop of yellow. So I'm going to add some more thread, a little bit of yellow right there by the blue. And I'm really loving how this is turning out. If you see in the top picture, my older daughter has her serious face on. I had not started playing her music yet. And my younger daughter has this, when she sees me holding up the camera to take a picture, or my phone, she has this funny little wave that she does. So that's what she's doing in the top photo. And the bottom photo is when the music is going, and it might be hard to see here, but my older daughter has her eyes closed and she's just got her hands clasped like, oh yes, there's my song. And her favorite songs are Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, every single day, Uptown Funk, every single day, Gangnam Style, yes, I'm not kidding, every single day, What Does the Fox Say, Happy by Pharrell, and Call Me Maybe. I don't know which song I'm sick of hearing yet, but I don't even care, because as long as she says song to me, I will play them as many times as she wants, because she's finally speaking to me and telling me what she wants, which is a huge step for her. So we celebrate it every time we're in the car. But anyway, here's the final layout coming up. I'm just adding my journaling here. I really love how this turned out. It's one of those layouts that just means a lot to me, and it's very, very special, and I love it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the process. Here's a look at all the dimension. You can really see there what the adhesive foam does just by popping things up. And this is a really cute collection. I hope you guys will give it a go. You can do a lot of different things. So many ideas running through my mind for future layouts. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you check out the Pinkfresh Studio store. You can get all the ink pads, the watercolors, the new collections, all of it. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you have a great week.